Welcome to your Internet Economist. My name is Fiona.
My name is Justin.
And today we're going to be talking about the government debt and the crowding out effect.
Let's get started with the basics of government debt. The government debt is the accumulation of all previous government deficits and surpluses. A deficit is when the government collects less taxes than they spend. For example, let's say the government collects $150 billion in taxes, but they spend $200 billion. Our government will have a $50 billion deficit. The opposite goes for surplus. That's when the government collects more taxes than they spend. Let's say the government collects $150 billion in taxes again, but this time they only spend $100 billion. Our government will have a $50 billion surplus. A balanced budget is when government collects the same amount of taxes that they spend. The government collects and spends $100 billion in taxes. Then there will be a balanced budget and no change to our debt.
Alright, now that we covered government deficits and surpluses, let's dive into something that keeps the economy running more smoothly behind the scenes. Automatic stabilizers. Automatic stabilizers are basically our economy safety nets. They're policies that automatically adjust to keep the economy stable. A good example of this is unemployment benefits. During an economic slowdown, people start losing their jobs, causing unemployment benefits to increase, and because people are making less money, they pay less taxes, which helps them keep spending and keep demand afloat in the economy, albeit causing more of a deficit. However, the opposite goes for economic growth. More people are working and earning more, so unemployment benefits go down and tax revenues go up. This helps reduce government spending and cool off demand, which can lower the deficit or even create a surplus. So basically, automatic stabilizers help soften recessions and prevent booms from overheating, all without any government action. Alright, here's where we switch things up a bit. Enter the crowding out effect. The crowding out effect is the idea that an expansionary fiscal policy will increase the budget deficit, therefore causing higher interest rates, which makes it more expensive to borrow and leading to a decrease in private investment. There's two ways to represent this on the loanable funds graph. One way is with a supply influence, to show that the loanable funds graph quantity decreases because the government takes away from the private market, leading to a higher real interest rate. You can also represent this on the demand graph, with the demand influence on loanable funds. The government therefore demands more loanable funds, leading to an increase in demand and the real interest rate. Now here's the impact of crowding out on the ASAD graph. Due to the expansionary fiscal policy, a decrease in taxes or an increase in government spending, the demand curve will shift right to 81. The decrease in private investment will then partially shift the demand curve back leftward. Even with the crowding out effect, expansionary fiscal policy will still shift the 80 curve rightward, resulting in greater price levels, greater real GDP, and lower unemployment. To determine how effective a fiscal policy is, we look at how sensitive businesses are in the private market to interest rates on investment spending. If investment is more sensitive to the interest rate, the effectiveness of fiscal policy will decrease. If investment is less sensitive to the interest rate, the effectiveness will increase. In the scenario where expansionary fiscal policy results in an equal amount of crowding out, however, the rightward shift of the demand curve will be canceled out by the leftward shift of the demand curve due to crowding out, resulting in a no net change in real output or price level. This is only a hypothetical situation, however. Now that you know all about government debt and the crowding out effect, you are for sure going to get a 5 on your AP macro exam.
We are the Internet Economists, and thank you for tuning in to today's video.
See you on the flip side.